What if I told you that 2,000 years ago, humanity built a brain? It was a single place that tried to hold all the knowledge in the world. This place invented early steam engines and knew the true size of the Earth. This amazing center of learning was real. It was the Great Library of Alexandria. Its story is about the greatest treasure we ever had and how we let it slip away. This wasn't just a library. Forget quiet rooms and dusty shelves of old books. The Great Library was the world's first true research university, a bustling center for smart minds. It had lecture halls and observatories to study the stars. It had dissection rooms to understand the human body. It even had botanical gardens to study plants. The scrolls were the software for this amazing human computer. The library was in the city of Alexandria. This was like the New York City of the ancient world. It was a busy port where everyone came together. Ideas from everywhere met here, people from Africa, Europe, and Asia, all mixed in its streets. It was a city of light with a giant lighthouse that was one of the wonders of the ancient world. It was a place for big ideas. The library's mission was to collect everything. The rulers of Egypt made a surprising rule for every single ship that came to the harbor. They had to give up their books. The scrolls were taken to the library to be copied. An army of scribes wrote new versions. The library kept the original, most valuable scrolls for its collection. This was a plan to own all knowledge. This amazing place was not the work of one person. It was a team of geniuses. A whole group of the smartest minds came together to push science forward in this one special place. Think of them as the all-stars of ancient science. There was Euclid, who gave us the rules of geometry. There was Archimedes, the brilliant inventor, and Hypatia, one of the first great female thinkers in math and science. One of the library's greatest minds was its head librarian, a man named Eratosthenes. He heard a strange story from a city far to the south. On the longest day of the year, the sun shone straight down into a deep well, lighting up the very bottom. At that moment, there were no shadows. But in Alexandria, on that very same day, Eratosthenes saw something different. A tall stick placed in the ground cast a clear shadow. This tiny difference was not a mistake. It was a giant clue. He realized the only way this could happen is if the earth was curved like a ball. So how close was his guess? Using just the shadow's angle and the distance between the two cities, he calculated the size of the entire planet. His answer was more than 99% correct. This was a moment of pure genius. Think about that. 2,000 years before we had rockets or satellites, a man with a stick, a well, and his amazing brain measured the world. This is the kind of powerful lost science that lived in the Great Library. And there were other sparks of a future that never happened. A different genius in Alexandria named Heron invented something incredible. It was the world's very first steam engine. Imagine a metal ball that could spin on a stand. A fire underneath boiled a pot of water. Steam traveled up through pipes into the ball. Then the steam shot out of two bent tubes on the sides, making the ball spin faster and faster. He had turned fire into motion. The library also held lost secrets about the most mysterious thing of all, us. For a short time, doctors in Alexandria were allowed to study the human body to see how it really worked, something almost nobody else in the ancient world did. One of these doctors, Herophilus, made a huge discovery. For centuries, people thought the heart was the center of our thoughts and feelings. But Herophilus looked inside and saw the truth. He proved that the brain was the real control center of the body. He also discovered the difference between the body's pathways for blood. He saw that arteries were thick and pulsed with life from the heart, and he saw that veins were different, carrying blood quietly back. He was drawing the first true map of the human body. But here is the saddest part. After the library and its great thinkers were gone, this incredible knowledge vanished. For more than 1,000 years, the world forgot what Herophilus had discovered. Doctors had to learn these lessons all over again much, much later. Everyone wants to know about the one big fire that destroyed the great library. But the truth is far more tragic. It is not a story of a single dramatic flame, but of a slow, creeping darkness. The library did not die in a day. It faded away over centuries. It lost funding from leaders who didn't care about knowledge. It was hurt by fighting and forgotten by people who stopped asking big questions. The world's brightest light didn't go out with a bang, it just slowly dimmed. This means the biggest thing we lost was not a specific map or a certain book. It was something much more powerful. A whole way of understanding the world vanished. The greatest loss was the idea of the library itself. It was the revolutionary concept that you could gather all the world's knowledge, translate it, and debate it. You could build new ideas on top of old ones. This was the engine for human progress, and it stalled for 1,000 years. So, can we recover what was lost? The answer is hopeful. We are trying to rebuild the spirit of the great library every single day. Think about the world we live in now. Huge projects like Wikipedia and the Internet Archive are trying to do the same thing. They gather human knowledge and make it free for everyone, everywhere. This is the library's dream, reborn in a new age. Scientists are also digging into the past with amazing tools. They use powerful light and computers to read scrolls that were burned into charcoal thousands of years ago. Words that were silent for ages are beginning to speak again. But they are not just looking for lost blueprints. The real search is for lost ways of thinking. How did Archimedes see a problem? How did Eratosthenes test an idea? That is the true lost science we hope to find. Every tiny piece of a recovered text gives us a clue. It's like finding a missing part of our own mind's history. We learn not just what they knew, but how they came to know it. The search is for the method behind the magic. The Great Library was more than a building full of scrolls. It was a promise. It was the promise that humans, by working together and sharing ideas, can figure out anything. And that is a promise we are still working to keep. Today, the ghost of the Great Library is being rebuilt. Not with stone and papyrus, but with light and code. Scientists are creating a digital Alexandria. They are scanning every ancient text they can find from all over the world. They use computers to connect the dots between broken scrolls and forgotten languages. This creates a new kind of library. It is a library without walls, open to everyone. It is a way to bring all the scattered pieces of ancient knowledge back together in one place. This work is slow. It's like putting together the world's hardest puzzle. Sometimes the past gives us a shocking clue. Divers exploring an ancient shipwreck found a lump of corroded bronze. For decades, it sat in a museum. Nobody was sure what it was. It looked like a strange, complicated clock. Using modern scanning technology, scientists looked inside the lump. They found a stunning system of gears. It was an ancient computer, now called the Antikythera mechanism. It was built 2,000 years ago to track the stars and predict eclipses. This one object proved that the science of the ancient world was far more advanced than we ever imagined. Finding these lost treasures is exciting. But the real quest is to recover something deeper. It's not just about the objects, it is about the lost ideas. How did they think? What kind of math and engineering did they use to build something so complex? The true recovery is about rebuilding a way of thinking. It's about piecing together the scientific method that was born in that library. We are learning not just what they knew, but how they knew it. This is the biggest piece of the puzzle. Another clue was found hidden in a prayer book. A scientist noticed that the book's parchment seemed to be recycled. Underneath the prayers, there were faint traces of older writing. This type of recycled document is called a palimpsest. Using special kinds of light, researchers could read the ghost text. What they found was unbelievable. It was a lost treatise by Archimedes, the greatest mind of the ancient world. It contained mathematical ideas we thought weren't discovered for another 1,000 years. A lost piece of the library was hiding right in front of us. These discoveries show us that the lost knowledge is not gone forever. It is scattered. It is hidden in fragments. It is waiting in old books, buried under the sand and resting at the bottom of the sea. Each new find is a page returned to the library, so the quest continues. We may never recover every single scroll, but the spirit of the Great Library is not just in the books it held. It's in the endless human drive to ask questions, to explore, and to understand. That spirit was never lost. It lives on in every scientist, every explorer, and every curious mind today.